Okay, just moments ago, I read on WatchmenComicMovie.com that director Zack Snyder has confirmed that the Squid will not be in the movie. And fans, we kind of, there have been reports that the Squid wasn't going to be in the movie, but there also have been some conflicting reports. There have been a few little reasons to hope that if it wasn't in the theatrical cut, that just maybe, like there'd be some DVD, some version on DVD where the Squid would be in. And by the way, if you haven't read the graphic novel, I'm not going to bother to explain what the Squid is, but it's a really significant part of the ending. And the ending is possibly the most satisfying ending to any story I've ever read. It's a really brilliant ending. And really, it wasn't until I read the ending until I decided it was one of my favorite books. It's so brilliant and well thought out. But so the Squid's not going to be in the movie. We don't know what the alternative is. Previous drafts have had the whole Dr. Manhattan energy beam thing, and which I definitely agree with the majority of the fans. It didn't really make sense in the script. We don't know what they're going to do. We probably somewhere deep down knew this was going to happen, and I've been optimistic that I was kind of willing to concede, okay, maybe the Squid just cinematically, maybe they just couldn't make it work for, some reason, even though it's so brilliant. Maybe I should just start by talking about why it's so brilliant in the graphic novel. In the graphic novel, we're talking about a plot to create instantaneous world peace. What else than something that crazy could cause instantaneous world peace? That's just about it. So something that insane, something that out of this world, could do that. And it's almost like the idea. I think the book, sort of a cliffhanger the book ends on. But I think one of the ideas that it leaves you with is, Dr. Manhattan says nothing ever ends, and sort of the idea that world peace seems so. The worldview that Watchmen takes is that world peace just seems so incredibly unattainable. And it's almost a joke by having something that crazy is what was required to create world peace. Like something that nuts. Something that, science fiction out of this world is all that could... That's what it would take to make world peace. That's kind of how I saw it. That's the worldview Watchmen takes, is that world peace seems so unattainable. So you're talking about a story that takes that worldview, and what else could cause instantaneous world peace? That's part of the reason why the ending is so brilliant. And I was open. To me, that's the important part of the ending. I do like the Squid because it's so out of nowhere. It's almost like it's so weird and absurd, intentionally so, that you don't even think about it. It's just like, oh my gosh, did that just happen? And then it makes sense as you think through it. But that's why I like it. That it's something crazy enough to cause instantaneous world peace. So if they can come up with... I've kind of been thinking the past couple months as these rumors are going around that if they can come up with something else that is still very nuts, that's just so crazy that could cause instantaneous world peace, then maybe I'd not going to like it, but I'd be okay with it because I would still keep what I love about the ending. But it doesn't sound like that's what they've done. Snyder talks about in this article about that it has something to do with Dr. Manhattan. Which, fans have, it's been pretty well pointed out by the fans that it seems unlikely that the rest of the world would believe that Dr. Manhattan wasn't working for the United States anymore after, he'd been the pawn of the United States government for so long. And so I really don't like that idea. And I don't think it would make sense. And then, of course, there's the problem of what does the comedian see, what island or whatever does he come across, why is he murdered? And that doesn't really make sense. There's a couple other things, too, throughout the graphic novel that there won't really be a place for now because they changed the ending. I've been pretty... from the beginning, we all knew that this was an impossible book to adapt, and obviously, I think, rightfully so. Most fans were very skeptical of Snyder. including myself. Although I think I was more cautiously optimistic than most, because I was just liking what I was seeing. I was liking, and I just conceded, yeah, they can't live up to the novel, but they can sure try. They can do some cool things. They can still come up with it'll be cool to see the story in moving form, and it'll be cool to see talented actors take on the roles, and they can get some cool parts of the graphic novel in. And I liked, and Snyder seemed to acknowledge this is an impossible book to adapt. I know that, but I'm going to try anyway. I kind of liked his attitude. I just felt like he really understood it. And now I'm in the more of the cautiously pessimistic role, I think. The fact that he's changed something like this. And I think it's interesting that what they point out on that article about what if Snyder has focused so much on pleasing the fans by cramming in all these cool little details, and but he's forgotten about what Watchmen really is. Like, what if they miss the big picture? And to me, the ending is such a big part of the big picture. So I'm not feeling so good about the movie anymore. I'd always saw this as, finally someone's going to do an Alan Moore graphic novel right. And maybe they will, maybe we'll all be surprised. But it's definitely not going to be as faithful as we thought. And, but, even previous scripts we've read, like that ending with Dr. Manhattan, that changed ending with Dr. Manhattan, it doesn't even stand up as a standalone movie, much less compared to the graphic novel. So, still excited to see it. I plan on going to the midnight showing in costume and all that. And, I've got to wait and see what it is. But right now, it's a sad day for Watchmen fans, I think. And it's hard to imagine them coming up with something that would be cooler or more effective than the Squid, honestly. But, so I'm more in the... I'm not a Snyder basher. There are definitely a lot of diehard fans who... And they're great fans, and I kind of completely understand their concerns, and they're bashing Zack Snyder. I understand that. I'm not a Snyder basher yet, but this is definitely a blow to my confidence in the movie. And just like the end of this article says, what else can we do than wait for March 6th?